Welcome back to Unspoken Matters. Today, we are sitting down with a man who went from an outcast running with a rough crowd in the wilderness to the supreme commander of an army.
Jephthah, welcome to the show. Thank you for having me in the studio. I count it a privilege.
He's the ultimate comeback story, but he's also a sobering reminder of why you should never let the hunger for validation dictate the words of your mouth. Let's dive in. Jephthah, before your brothers officially cast you out, there were years of you all living under the same roof. The scriptures explicitly mention your mother was a harlot, and your brothers used that as the legal ground to deny you an inheritance. What was the atmosphere like before the final breakup? Did you feel the emotional exile before the physical one? You are pushed out incrementally.
How so?
I grew up in a house where I was constantly referred to as the son of that woman.
I see.
Oh, the physical expulsion was just the final act of a play that had been running my entire childhood. You don't just wake up one day and get thrown out by your family. Every time there was a family dispute, my mother's past was thrown in my face. You learn quickly to expect nothing from people, even the ones who share your father's blood. My knowledge of human nature was forged in a very cold kitchen. I learned to rely entirely on my own strength because I knew deep down the family safety net was never meant to catch me. My biggest fear back then wasn't failure. It was being completely invisible.
That's powerful. Invisibility can be worse than failing.
Then, the moment your brothers get into trouble with the Ammonites, they come knocking on your door.
How hard was it not to just slam the door in their faces and say, "Go ask your inheritance for help"? Oh, I definitely threw it in their faces first. I told them straight up, didn't you hate me and drive me out? But I wasn't going to let them use me as a temporary shield. I told them, if I fight this war for you and win, I'm not just your soldier, I'm your leader. It's funny how people's theology changes when they're losing a war. You have to know your worth, especially when the people who undervalued you suddenly need your gifting.
But if asked, would you say you were satisfied by your response to their plea?
If I'm being completely honest, my regret is that I still cared what they thought. I wasn't just fighting to save Gilead.
I was fighting to prove to my dead father's house that they were wrong about me. I bargained for the title of head because the little boy inside me still wanted to hear them say, "You belong." Never let your past trauma negotiate your future contracts. You'll always overcompensate. That need to prove yourself brings us to the tragedy. You're marching into battle, the Spirit of the Lord is on you, but you still feel the need to make a desperate, reckless vow. Whatever comes out of my house first to meet me when I return in victory will be dedicated as a burnt offering. Later on, you deal with internal betrayal from the Ephraimites. You set up checkpoints at the Jordan River and use a linguistic test, making everyone say the word shibboleth. If they pronounced it Sibboleth, they were executed. As a storyteller, I see the dark irony here. When you've been pushed to the edge as often as I have, you lose the luxury of taking chances on people who can't speak your language cleanly.
I understand. You, a man who was judged by his origin, ended up judging others by their dialect. How did that feel?
That's exactly what it was. When you grow up believing you are inherently unworthy because of your origin, you feel like you have to pay double for every blessing. I didn't trust that victory could just be given to me. I thought I had to buy it with a grand gesture, and my ignorance cost me everything. I expected a sheep or a goat from the estate to walk out. Instead, my daughter, my only child, the only person in the world who loved me unconditionally without caring about my pedigree, came running out with tambourines to celebrate her father. In trying to secure the validation of a broken family, I broke my own home. My greatest victory became my ultimate regret. Life has a strange way of making you become the thing you hated. I spent my youth being judged by the accent of my mother's reputation. But when you are in the seat of judgment and dealing with a civil war, nuance goes out the window. The Ephraimites tried to blend in, but their own tongues betrayed them. It was brutal, yes, but it was about survival. Jephthah, your life proves that you can conquer the world, but if you don't control your tongue, your greatest win can still break your heart. This episode has been a masterclass in why we must stop bargaining with anxiety and start walking in intention. We are almost out of time, and Jephthah, your story is incredible, but it leaves us holding a difficult truth. If there's one thing I'm taking away from this conversation, it's that victory at any cost is just another form of loss. What is the final word you would give to the listeners who are watching? Stay strong. Face your challenges with courage. If you are born with a purpose, you don't need a gimmick to succeed. Your gifting is enough.
That's powerful.
Don't ever get so hungry for people to validate your success that you sacrifice the very things you are fighting for. Trust the Spirit of the Lord that is already on you, and for God's sake, think before you speak.
Thank you, Jephthah, for honoring our invite. It's been a great session with you. Hope you wouldn't mind answering any other questions that may come up later.
Thank you so much. I consider it a big privilege to be featured in the Unspoken Matters podcast. I would be in the comment section to attend to any other questions from my listeners.
And to our listeners, drop your comments or further questions in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let me know who you would love to see next on our podcast.